So to kind of blend two things in one problem, we're going to start by getting rid of the y from both of these two equations. So I added the first two equations together, got rid of the y here, multiply this first equation by 2 and add it to the third equation to get rid of the y here. That gives me this little 2 by 2 system of equations. Now, you can solve this any way you want. You can solve it by the addition method. You can solve it by substitution. The numbers here look a little bit ugly. Yes, question? Yeah, if you're going to continue solving this by hand, I would probably multiply, say, the top equation by -2 and the bottom equation by 5, because that would give me a coefficient of 10 and -10, respectively. And then you could add those together and they would cancel out. And you'd solve for z. But we're going to do this one with the graphing calculator. So let me write this as a matrix system of equations. So that would be 5, 2, 2, 11, and then x and z, and then 16 and 37. So we're going to put this into our calculator as A and then B. And our solution, calling this matrix x, not the variable x, our solution is going to be x equals A inverse times B. So we got to put in a couple things into our calculator, A and B, and then find A inverse B, or at least make the calculator find A inverse B. So let's do that. Do you remember where to put in the matrix? Yep, second matrix, and then you go over to edit. Now, important question for you. What's the size of matrix A? 2 by 2. 2 rows, 2 columns. 2 by 2. What's the size of matrix B? 2 by 1. 2 rows, 1 column. So matrix A, I'll type in 2, enter 2, and then 5, 2, 11, or excuse me, 2, and then 11. Now when you're done entering that, you need to exit. You need to quit. So you press the second key, then the mode key to quit. Now I got to go back and enter matrix B. So same deal, second matrix, over to edit, and then down to B. Matrix B is a 2 by 1. I'll type in 16 and 37. Second, and then quit. Now, if you're interested, if you're like worried, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure I typed in the right thing, then you can just type the matrix, second matrix, and then press enter twice, and it'll show you the matrix. So that's what you've typed in. You can double check that you got it right. You can do likewise with matrix B. Make sure you got that right. But when you're ready to solve this, when you're ready to get A inverse times B, we'll type matrix A, so second, x inverse, and then press enter. So that gives you matrix A, but you want the inverse of that. The inverse button is right here. So that gives me A inverse. Now I simply need to type matrix B. You don't need to type the multiplication sign between those. So you go back to the matrix menu, select matrix B, and then press enter, and we should get our solution. A, 2, and 3. Now, yeah, that's for x and z in this particular problem. So we got x was 2, z was 3, and then to finish this up, you need to pick one of these original equations and go back and solve for y. So let's do that. So that would be 2 times 2 minus 3y plus 3 times 3 equals 14. So 4 minus 3y plus 9 equals 14. So that gives me negative 3y plus 13 equals 14. If I subtract 13 from both sides and then divide, we get a fraction. Oops. Hate when that happens. But it does happen. make sure that you write your answers in alphabetical order. There's 6 different ways you can write these numbers. The only one that's going to be accepted by Newton or Webassign is going to be the one that's in alphabetical order. So 2, -1/3, and 3. Now these are big point problems on an exam. So if you're like, I'm not so sure about that, I don't know if I got it right, what could you do to check it? Yeah, plug it back into the equations, right? If you plug it back into this equation, and this equation, it should work in all 3 of those equations. If it doesn't work in one of those equations or more, then it's not a solution. It has to work in all 3 of them. This is not like a problem in logarithms where you have to check it, but it's a good idea to check it. If you are going to check it in all 3. All right. We good on that one? Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, it has to work in all 3 of them. So there's going to be a problem on the test where I ask you to use the matrix, which is what we did here. We kind of blended 2 things here. Usually I ask you to solve a problem like this by hand, but you can check it with your matrix. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a really good idea. It'd be a quick, easy way to do that. I mean, I'll do it really fast here. Go to matrix, edit. Got a 3x3 equations. 2, -3, 3, 3, 3, -1, -2, 6, and 5. So that's matrix A. What would matrix B be? Yeah, 14, 2, and 9. So that's a 3x1. So 14, 2, and 9. And then, type A inverse times B again. Now, it's going to give you a decimal value. It's not going to give you a fraction. Oops. I must have made a mistake someplace. Go to... Oh, I got an extra parenthesis there. Whew. It's going to give you a decimal value there, but maybe you recognize that. If you don't, hit the math key and then press enter twice because it turns your answers into fractions. So there you go. 2, -1/3, and 3. So nice. You can double check your work that way. And I would highly recommend it. All right, good luck.